you, love? Are you okay? How's your arm? Do you have people with you? What about your heart? What are these bastards doing to you? Does someone dare to touch you? Romy, you're strong. You're strong like I know you are, right?
That's Yarden Gonen. She isn't an actress. She's the older sister of 23-year-old Romy Gonen, who was taken captive by the Hamas terror group on October 7th from the Nova Music Festival in southern Israel. She's been held in captivity in Gaza for over 8 months now. And today, her family is one of many families of hostages that have gathered in southern Israel for a very bizarre conference. They're here to meet with journalists and social media experts to hear what they need to do to make sure the world keeps caring about the plight of their loved ones.
Are the families desperate? I would love to say no. I would love to gather all the power we have to feel very, very strong, but I'm afraid it's cracking.
This is Efrat Machikawa. Her 80-year-old uncle, Gadi Moses, was kidnapped from his home in Kibbutz Nir Oz by Hamas on October 7th, along with his stepdaughter and 2 grandkids, who were eventually released in a truce deal back in November.
Our family is neutralized. I don't sleep for about 8 months now. I really don't. And it's hard. I came here today to study. I came here today to listen, to try and find out what is it that we need to do in order to take everybody, but everybody, out of their homes in Israel in order to bring the kidnapped back.
Several international journalists from around the world are speaking at this conference today to give their take on how to best advertise the plight of the kidnapped hostages, like Andy Jering, a British correspondent from the Daily Mail.
There's no solid rule as to what is going to capture the imagination, but my experience as a news journalist is that there is still massive interest, but there's awful suffering happening on both sides. There is appalling suffering going on in Gaza. That's not to take away from the suffering of the families here. You can't interview the hostages. They are in Gaza. So it's difficult to keep moving that story on. But the responsibility falls on you as the journalist to get creative and come up with ideas that do continue to tell those stories.
But for many of these families, the feeling is that the international media no longer cares about their captive loved ones, and that every day has become a fight to be heard. The youngest generation of some of the hostage families have even created a group to try and brainstorm ideas to keep the captives in the spotlight, since they say their parents are burning out. Yuli Ben-Ami is one of them, whose father Oad is still being held hostage.
My father was kidnapped with his boxer, with his pajama, from his bed. So I think that the people need to understand that it's urgent. We need the world to wake up, and we are just exhausted from trying to convince people that they are not have time.
Michael Levy is the older brother of 33-year-old Israeli hostage Or Levy, who was kidnapped from the Nova Music Festival. His wife was killed by Hamas, and their 3-year-old son is now in the care of the entire extended family as they desperately wait for Or's return. It's clear that the families who are here today have no intention of stopping, trying to make sure that you get your brother's story out. If there's something that you could say to him today, what would it be?
I actually did my first tattoo last week. It says whatever it takes, and I'll do whatever it takes to get you back. That's as simple as that. That's the only thing I want to tell him.